All right, so my storytelling comes from my mother. Yes, she's right there. Yes, she would always reminisce, oh thank you, about her growing up in Jim Crow South, her time as a maid and living at a border house run by Madam Melina Cass. I wanted to create a story of my mom that shows her courage, sacrifices, and survival of coming to a world unknown. The title of my story is Trouble Doesn't Last Always. It is a saying my mother would say to me that her mother and grandmother would say to her. It is a mantra that I use when things aren't going my way. It brings me back to reality. My vision is to one day turn this story into a short film. Until then, I would like to share a passage of my story to you today. After 6 months with the maid service, Sally decided to venture out on her own and get a new job and a new place to live. She got a job where she didn't have to clean and live in white homes. Her first job was Sears and Roebuck. In the Fenway area of Boston. Her position would be splicing cables on a big machine. It didn't sound like much, but it was a start to a long career in industrial services. She would later work for Teradyne, Raytheon, Honeywell, and Bull. Sally's new home was a boarding house for women of color called the Women's Service Club. It was in the heart of South End Boston, 464 Massachusetts Ave. The building was a 3-level brownstone that housed around 10 women. She heard about the Women's Service Club from the maid agency. They had a partnership with the Women's Service Club. The maid agency did more than place women in private homes through its connection with the Women's Service Club in Boston. It also provided a safe place for young Black women to live after leaving the maid services. The agency helped bring Sally north and find her first placement, but the Women's Service Club gave her something different, a place to stay while she was building a life of her own. The Women's Service Club was run by the house mother, Miss Bland. Miss Bland was a short, middle-aged woman born in Boston who acted as a mother figure to the ladies. Sally thought Miss Bland was sweet as pie. She was always looking out for the ladies, especially during curfew. If any of the women didn't make curfew, she would be sick with worry. The president of Women's Service Club was the first lady of Roxbury, Dr. Melina Cass. A prominent figure in the city of Boston. She served the WSC for 15 years. She was the president of Boston chapter of the NAACP. You might know her from the major boulevard in Boston named after her. Sally shared a room with her sister, Betty, and a young lady named Fanny from Virginia. There were 2 beds in the room. She had to share one with Betty because they were sisters. And Fanny had her own had her own bed, I'm sorry. Fanny and Sally did not get along. Sally couldn't stand how prissy Fanny was. With all the prissiness Fanny had, she still was a rebel. She would sneak out the window at night to meet her older boyfriend. Sally would be spiteful. Not my mother. Yeah, Sally would be spiteful and lock the window so she couldn't get back in. When Fanny came home, she would find herself locked out. She would bang on the window for them to let her in. Betty felt bad and would open the window for her. Fanny would come in hotter than fish grease. One day, Fanny was fed up with Sally and started arguing with her. The argument got so heated, Fanny pulled a knife on Sally. Yup, sure did. But my mom don't play. Sally yells, "Bitch, I will make you eat that knife." Betty jumped up and grabbed the knife from Fanny. That night, Fanny was moved to another room. And Sally finally got her own bed. After the incident, Miss Bland had to report it to Mrs. Melina Cass. Mrs. Cass had to come to the boarding house to have a meeting with the ladies. She entered the boarding house and told Miss Bland to bring Sally, Betty, and Fanny down to the living room. Sally walked into the room and saw an elderly woman with good hair in a bun wearing a modest dress. It was the president of the WSC, Mrs. Melina Cass. Sally always admired Mrs. Cass. There was something about the way she carried herself that made people sit up straight and listen. She was respected, educated, and connected, but she still cared about the young women like them trying to find their way. Mrs. Cass did not yell. She folded her hands and said, "Ladies, you must learn to be able to settle your differences without using violence. The house is not just a roof over your heads. It is a place where young women like yourself can feel safe and get a sense of freedom." She looked at all ladies and said, "You came to Boston for a better life, but a better life does not come just because you cross the state line. You must carry yourself like you know your worth. This city may not see your name, your family, or your dreams. Sometimes it would only see one mistake. Do not help it define you that way." Then her voice softened. "You are not just here for yourselves. Every one of you carries someone's prayers with you. Somebody down south is hoping you make it. So you must show respect to one another. Violence is not the answer. Something bad could have happened. You don't want to throw your life away when it's just getting started. Your lives are precious and you need to treat them that way." As Sally listened, a memory rose up from deep inside her. The long rows of cotton stretching across the fields of Eads, Tennessee. The burlap sack dragging heavy behind her. The string of cotton tripping her fingers. She saw her mother, Charlie.
It's okay, Cuz.
I said I wasn't going to do that.
Take your time.
She saw her mother, Charlie, wiping sweat from her brow under the blazing sun. She remembered how her mother would pause and look at them and whisper, "Trouble don't last always." Sally lowered her eyes, feeling the weight of those words hit her. She had braced herself for a harsh lecture, maybe even punishment. Instead, what she received felt a warning wrapped in a blessing. Mrs. Cass wasn't simply addressing the fight, she was teaching them how to survive in the city of Boston without letting it swallow them whole. Thank you.